Our Global Council focus area for 2020 is discovery and fulfillment. I would like to first thank the Global Council Program Committee for all of their hard work and organizing us to conduct some of the pre-research and data collecting for this project. Before I start talking about the discovery and fulfillment activities, I want to think back to the Global Council area focus in 2019, which was open content. And with that, we decided from looking at those findings that we should be thinking about discovery in general as well as fulfillment, because that also encompasses this open content. So what we first did was focus group interviews. Now, they were virtual, and they were with the Global Council delegates. The survey was distributed at the Library Futures Conference on the 2nd of October, 2019, in Phoenix, Arizona, in the United States. The survey that we created for this focus area used some of the themes from the virtual focus group interviews. However, we had done some previous studies on discovery and access, and so where there were gaps in our knowledge, we also pulled from those studies. So for our virtual focus group interviews, we had 19 Global Council delegates participate. You can see the distribution here. So we were trying to get a global interaction and participation. Again, we identified major themes. We had 3 virtual focus group interviews. I won't read the names, but this gives you an idea of the Global Council delegates who participated in the focus group interviews. And you can also see the regions, the geographic regions that they are representing. So what did we learn? Well, number one, we learned that personal recommendations are heavily influence the discovery and access of library resources. Now, we have been collecting data on users since 2003, and this is something we have learned. Many students seek out and use the library resources that their professors or their peers recommend. And for some reason, and for some times, those may be the only resources that they use. What else did we learn? Guess what? We start discovery with Google. Big surprise. However, the data we have been collecting support this. So these are the perceptions of Global Council delegates, and your perceptions are pretty right on. Public libraries are now providing much more than just resources. They're also providing social services. A great example of this is the public library addressing the opioid crisis that OCLC and the Public Library Association have been working on, and it is partially funded by the Institute for Museum and Library Services. What else did we learn? That restrictive licenses often prohibit libraries from offering services to their communities. I have a quote from one of the delegates. "We are in a stormy time around platforms for this. It's still very up in the air how libraries are best going to be able to provide this." So again, it's providing services, resources of all types. Next, streaming content is a really popular new offering. We've also learned this with another study that we've been doing with Worthington Public Libraries in Worthington, Ohio. We surveyed 1,500 community members, and we are finding that content is very important, as well as streaming content. We see, again, that open content is desirable but has limitations, and that came out of the previous research done with Global Council. Digitization projects are affected by limited resources. I have never talked to any library or information professional who has said to me, "I have all the time and all the resources that I need." So this is not surprising that, as one delegate said, libraries simply don't have time to digitize everything. So we did ask one other question. What is the next big thing or the next big things that libraries will be facing? To my surprise, artificial intelligence was number one. However, when I was in Australia and New Zealand last month, that also came up as one of the number one new things for libraries to address. Privacy is another issue that has come up. What we learned from our academic library impact report with the American Library Association of College and Research Libraries, is that privacy is much more important to librarians than to academic chancellors or provosts or presidents. They're seeing things a little differently. I'm not saying that we need to change everything, but I think we need to start investigating in this area and think about what changes can be made. Library of space, that also comes up quite a bit. And we hear that, especially when the library is part of a community, whether the community is a city, a town, or an academic institution. And then here comes that digitization of resources again. Another issue that librarians are trying to adapt to, resolve, and make some decisions about. So I'm asking you today to help us distribute this survey. We need you to conduct our research in order to make a difference in our libraries. The survey link is on the slide, and the survey is opened until the 17th of January, 2020.